Three. So, welcome to Conker's Bad Fur Day. So, did you have any idea what you were getting into when I
No, 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 no. None idea whatsoever. The only thing I knew is that you're absolutely excited about this game. You mentioned it like once, twice, or 300 or 400 times before, and yeah, you're really into that.
It,
And
yeah.
I was a little surprised when I saw this little squirrel going on. I mean, after what you told me, it was some kind of weird, funny, slightly nasty kind of game, and then there's this little fur ball. Scene, I understood what you were talking about.
Yeah, I mean it's one of those games where it's partially due to the history of the game. Have you ever heard of Rare before?
Yes, of course.
Okay, so I mean now they have their history going all the way back to the ZX Spectrum days in England, and we will talk about them probably the next couple of years as soon as they
Yeah,
start making games as Ultimate Play the Game. But they had done Donkey Kong Country and RC Pro Am and a whole bunch of other games before this. And the original idea of Conker was to be a kid friendly
hmm,
little game. Similar to Banjo Kazooie and Banjo Tooie and all that stuff, very different from their Killer Instinct game, fighting
yeah,
game. And this started out as just that, as a kid-friendly game. Conker's original first appearance was actually in Diddy Kong Racing.
really?
Yeah, he's one of the playable characters in Diddy Kong Racing, and then there's even a
Okay.
Game Boy game with Conker in it. And it's, super friendly, happy
Hmm.
kitty game. And they then showed this off. It was originally supposed to come out in 98
Hmm.
when the N64 was much more relevant. And it got such bad reactions at E3 that the Stampers, the two brothers, or at least one of the brothers, uh,
Hmm.
decided, okay, we need to redo this. We need to reinvent this game.
Yeah,
And it took them another 3 years basically to rework the game into
really?
this. Yeah.
Okay.
And it's amazing because this is a cartridge game with all
Yeah.
this speech. And it really does work amazingly. I think it's probably technically, I would say, my personal favorite N64 game and one of the most
Mm.
impressive ones.
So why is it so astonishing that all the speech and stuff is so exciting to be on a cartridge?
Well, because speech typically takes a lot of space.
Yeah,
I mean, if you look at an MP3, now it's stereo sound, you're
and the
talking
cartridges are
a
just.
meg a minute. And
Mm.
if, every meg has to be paid for, it is dramatically increasing the cost of the cartridge.
I was so confused seeing this scene, After this point, I really thought it was like kind of a kid-friendly game, and this scene, like, what the hell is going on? And then I was like totally like enamored with this, and I thought like this is like the greatest like game ever.
Like, I totally get it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, it gets so much better later on. Oh my god. Yeah, I mean, we're getting a little bit of ahead of ourselves, but you just didn't even touch the surface of what this game has to offer. Like,
All
he's
right.
talking about, he kind of got together with some guys who were going off to war or something.
Yeah.
Oh, you will see that scene later on. You
Oh,
want to
really?
see? Oh, dude. Oh, yeah. He meets up with these guys again later on, and it's Saving Private Ryan with squirrels, with everybody dying on the beaches. On the beaches.
Holy
It's
cow.
Oh yeah, and then when Barry comes to save you, it turns into to the Matrix with guns and blowing up everywhere and stuff. And I mean, there's so much in this game, so much in this game.
Okay.
It's
So
yeah.
This was the point when I called my girlfriend. You have to see that, and she's like, I'm not interested in your podcast. Like, no. It's not about the podcast. It's about life and stuff. Come over. I mean, it's just, and he's pissed.
And the evil monk lizard here reading his tablets, and I mean, all of this plays a part later on in the game, obviously.
Yeah.
And just the whole way that this was put together. I mean, this is not pre-rendered. This is all running off of the game engine.
Mm-hmm.
It's rare, pushing every technical limit they know
Yeah.
how to push.
Did they have special chips in the cartridge to help this game run smoothly?
I honestly don't know what the hardware is inside of the cartridge for this, but they are using a bunch of super compression algorithms in order to get this into the cartridge. So it's a
Yeah.
64 meg cartridge. So 64 megabytes, this whole
Mm.
game, which, I mean, if you think about it on a PC game at this time, I mean, we're talking multiple CDs. This is a
Yeah.
tenth of a CD.
Yeah.
And
Exactly.
and I mean, granted, the audio quality is not that great. I mean, it's got that little bit of grate to it, and you can tell that they're loading individual files. There's no, it's not like the soundtrack is mixed with the audio and stuff. And there's
Yeah,
a reason
but
why they have
still.
the comic book bits, because some of the sound does get hard to understand. But it's great.
Yeah. But honestly, I didn't have any problems to understand that stuff at all. I mean, I thought it was fairly good. I mean, I have good headphones, but it's actually pretty good.
Oh yeah.
Hey, how long is this game? How long does it take you to beat it?
I played it back in the day. Now, granted, I played it on an emulator,
Mhm.
so I was able to save again and again, so I didn't have to repeat a bunch of stuff. But you can probably get through it in less than 20 hours, I'd say.
Okay.
I mean, it's not a tremendously long game. It's just all the scenes are so memorable, and
Mm-hmm.
it does still suffer from some of the N64 bugs, like single analog stick, so camera movement becomes weird.
Oh yeah.
But so this is actually when your 7 minutes are beginning, right around here, because up until now you haven't had any control over the actions in the game.
Yeah, exactly. It's like,
And
like there. And then I just recorded the next 7 minutes of gameplay. And then at the beginning, you see me actually struggle with the camera and all the controls. You see, I mean, I'm super drunk right now. So I was like
you were
fighting.
the character.
Exactly. So yeah, and this was me trying to figure out the controls, and I was like, I need to behave like a drunken squirrel.
Exactly.
So I didn't want to walk straight.
Now, see, you didn't do something that I did, which was I kept trying to push the B button on that B button. I kept
Yeah,
trying to figure out, and it took me forever to remember that I had to walk around the fence to get inside the field.
yeah. I was just wandering aimlessly.
But yeah, I see you got there much faster than I did when I replayed this. I replayed it for a little bit because I had to figure out, okay, how long can we actually do this?
Hmm.
Because, yeah, we're in the era of having to get to the game after intros and everything else. But,
Hmm.
oh well. Yeah, it was good stuff. Um,
It really is. It really is.
yeah, and
And
this
this
game
is,
got rave reviews. Pretty much everybody loved it.
yeah. I mean, I can totally understand this. I mean, the humor is it's so my kind of humor.
Yeah, mine too. I mean, it hits all of those repressed teenager,
Oh
just
yeah.
disgusting enough without getting too well. Okay, wait until you meet the Mighty Pooh later on. But that was
Oh
kind of
God.
a moment where I was like, this is almost going too far. But yeah.
Okay. You know what? This scene reminded me somehow of Rick and Morty, the Scarecrow. I so had to think of Rick in this moment.
That's true. That's true. It's sort of the drunken master type of thing.
Yeah.
And I love how you're trying to get past him here. It really does give you that effect of being drunk.
Yeah.
The lag and the movement and everything.
Yeah. No, and I was like, I'm drunk, so I have to behave accordingly.
Mm, yeah.
And
And
this
and
this is so this is so great. This context sensitivity dialogue.
yeah, it's sort of breaking the fourth wall, but not breaking the fourth wall at the same time. And it's the best way to treat the fact that you're dealing with, talking cute animals that are drunk. It's like,
Yes. And
how
I mean,
else would
look at
you
those tiny
explain
little
that?
movements. I mean, sorry, but just look at the scarecrow. I mean, this over exaggerated like head movements, like yes, this is so good.
Yeah, it's the animation sells it. I mean, you're not dealing with super high res graphics, you're not dealing with super high poly counts, but it just
It works.
feels right.
It feels right, exactly. It, it totally feels right. I didn't have the feeling actually that I'm playing an old game. I mean, yes, it's all a little bit well rectangular, if you know what I mean.
Yeah,
And I don't know whether or not the emulator takes away some of that. But
the emulator isn't adding polygons, but with the emulator is cleaning up the image quite a
this is
bit.
what I mean.
Yeah,
Back
um,
of hours. And there we go.
but yeah, I love this.
And this is just the best. Just take an aspirin, and there we go. Back again.
Just what I needed. In fact, it would seem to me that these give me just what I need at that moment in time. Hmm. I see what he means.
Oh.
Context clues. Clever. Hmm. I feel loads better.
But honestly, I have to say the controls were a little bit
For whatever reason you want to skip all these
clunky.
things, then just press the L button. But you will have to
Yeah, well, the controls on it,
Okay.
again, you have to kind of remember the N64 analog stick was that had so much play in it,
Mm.
which you don't, I never felt like an Xbox 360 controller or a PlayStation 2 controller gave you as much play. It didn't give you as much room to move.
Oh yeah.
And so that's also why there's very tiny movements that are going to register. It's harder to make them register on a modern controller
Mm.
when playing this. And also, of course, you have the problem which you're about to encounter here. And I love the fact that when he's in the water, he's got the little blow up things on his arms.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah. Yeah. The animation is just it's just hilarious.
yeah, yeah. It's so many little details. It's like you
Yeah.
can tell they put years and years of work into this.
Oh yeah. And it's highly polished. And dude, this was before the age of day one patches and patching and patching and patching. I mean, this is how the game came out of the box. Which you expect for what did you have to pay? Probably like 60, $70 for the game.
60 or $70, and this is 20 years ago. Yeah, I mean, this was not a cheap game
Yeah.
to buy at retail.
No, this was expensive. And things just worked.
Yeah, well, they
And
had to.
there I didn't know what the button mapping was, so we have to get through this dialogue once more.
Yeah, yeah, it takes a
I mean, I
little
was
bit.
using a DualShock controller, and I was just a little bit confused with the amount of buttons I had at my disposal.
Yeah, and that is going to be one of the issues. It's actually going to impact next week's 7 Minutes in Heaven. The choice of game was dependent on the controller, so. But you're still going to
Okay.
get something really awesome. We can talk
Okay.
about it then.
Looking forward to that.
Yeah, yeah.
All
Gonna.
right. Yeah.
Okay, so
Then
now
I
here
figured
it
out the.
comes. The first major movement. Is he going to figure out how to do the special jump? Is he going to jump up and use the yes? Well
Yeah, but
done.
not
And
so.
not so well done.
No, no, not so well done. Not so well at all. Um.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, I
So I
still
went
remember.
for it once more,
Yeah.
and I don't know. I don't know. This was just hard. So I practiced a little bit, ignored the scarecrow, Didn't feel like swimming.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember having to do this so many times the first time I played
Exactly.
this, and yeah, it's annoying as hell, this first set of jumps. And
Yes.
that was the end of your 7
And
minutes.
then I just surrendered. I mean, I tried it afterwards a couple of times and I failed miserably.
You never got onto the log?
No. And then I just
Oh,
plainly
really?
surrendered.
Oh, I'm so sorry. Yeah, that sucks. You have to basically do the high jump, and then when you're at the top of the jump, that's when you start the tail.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it takes a little while just because the camera problems, but
Mm.
once you have it down, it actually becomes fairly simple. But yeah, at first it is a bit of a pain.
Mhm.
So, okay, let's talk about it back on the podcast. Stop